Hello friends, welcome back. It's Mr. Squiggs here with another thrilling episode in which I'll probably, watch paint dry or something like that. But for real, we're back in our little town and we're going to continue with our efforts to develop some agriculture, some gravel roads, and hopefully actually build a bit of a town here. So I'm going to go ahead and push play on the game speed. Here we can already see we've got construction underway, 4%, 5% complete on our first little segment of gravel road. Now, one of the things I was thinking about after reviewing the last episode is what sort of export products we might produce. And some of you may have noticed while I was going through the numbers that in fact, if we're really caring about density of our export product, then alcohol is not in fact the best we can do. Raw cloth, even before it's been turned into clothing, fabric, it'll export at a slightly higher price as well. So, while I'm fixing the roads around this region, I might build a different building in addition to or instead of the distillery. We'll have to take a look at prices and figure out what we're going to do. The most immediate thing that I'm going to do, though, is continue to pave some more of these roads and see where that gets us. So I had changed this distance between these two roads so that we could have some nice snapping. But unfortunately, I've already planned things out with this long through road that was going to cut right across our downtown. And I'm even having some second thoughts about doing that. The through road is going to be very efficient for road transportation, but it's maybe not the best experience for pedestrians and for people living in this area. But we're gonna roll with the punches. We're gonna see how these are working as time goes on. So I might just take a look. Yeah, and that bothered me most about this through road was it's not snapped to the grid. Ugh, and I've already got all these farms connected up to it. What have I done? Okay, well, not every road can be perfectly straight. That's the real world, And I'm strongly tempted to leave it as is because, frankly, it's good enough. I'm just wondering, will the game let us put an intersection there where we want? See, that's even more of an issue. That is even more of an issue. So am I going to rebuild this entire road? I'd have to be crazy. I might be crazy. Okay, let's just at least this segment, at least this part. Okay, so that part of the through road is perfectly straight, and I was careful to shift slightly to the left, slightly in this direction and not in the other one, because unfortunately we are going to have a slight disruption. I don't have to fix the road now. I could do it in winter when vehicles no longer need to access. But the point is, I wanted to make sure that I wasn't moving the road any closer to these farms. In reality, there's probably enough space, because there is a little bit of space there, but I just wanted to make sure I wasn't trespassing on the farms or causing any problems with the driveways, sometimes if you're putting a road super, super close to where the driveway is supposed to start, it won't actually let you connect the driveway properly. But we will be able to snap right to that point, which will be nice. I think I'll wait to do that. Will I wait to do that? Or am I okay? You know, I think I might be okay cutting that, chopping that into 2 segments there. Yeah. And maybe we'll extend out that other road as well. So I am going to redo some of these blocks because, as you can see, I had a lot of roads that I just sort of threw up in my hands and said, well, we're not going to be snapped perfectly to the grid. But there's nothing built yet, nothing paid for, so you know what? Let's be perfect. Let's snap to the grid. I might fix the other road eventually too. So that's what I'll do. I'm going to let them build this first one, and then we might fix the other roads. So now you see, now once we start doing some heavy construction, it might become obvious. You know, I might suspend construction on that one because really I want to build it when it's going all the way across. But yeah, the rest there, we'll go ahead and start building it. And what else? This is not connected. I'll connect this part up. And this road is not straight at all, so who cares if it's straight or not? There we go. Perfect. So what do we got? We got a truck slowly loading up with some gravel. We got 2, in fact, and this is why I wanted to build this thing. It will lead to some faster loading times for gravel eventually. Of course, it is not going to work without the power supply. And so we do have a bit of a queue, a bit of a lineup here of vehicles waiting for gravel, loading quite slowly. Later in the game, when we've got dozens of these vehicles, it's going to be super essential that this aggregate loader is running. But this early in the game, it's only because I've just added the first couple building projects. That's why we've got a bottleneck here. Really, these are going to take so much time to transport their loads that I'm not terribly concerned about the lineup here. We'll get a bit of more space between the vehicles once they are in the groove, transporting their loads, going between various different sites. And now we should have at least 2 different construction sites that are accessible. In fact, here I'm seeing a bunch because, yes, it's letting us connect. It's letting us go around the loop this way to build this road already, building this one. And same thing here. We do have a mud road connecting to this intersection here. So everything that this intersection touches, these 2 pieces, can already be under construction. So that's going to be more than we need going at one time. That's maybe too much because we've only got 2 vehicles here capable of actually building a road. So realistically, we're not going to have real construction happening on more than 2 at a time at this early stage. However, it is good to have the dumpers because the bulldozers, the excavators, they build roads pretty fast compared to how long it takes to get the gravel out there, particularly at this early stage where all the roads are mud roads. The excavator only makes 1 trip out there. In fact, it doesn't even make the trip back. It's a bit of a bug. It just teleports back to the construction office once it's finished. But it only has to make that 1 trip, so it doesn't matter if it's slow, and then it's spending its life waiting for gravel. So I'd much rather have way more of these dumpers running out gravel little by little to all the various construction sites so that when these vehicles get out there, there will be some gravel. And in fact, the reason these 2 are both parked here right now, I think our first little segment that we ever built here, I can't even click it. It's already complete. We have a gravel road open for business. I can hardly believe we've reached this point. I never thought we'd get here. But we're here. And so, in fact, these 2 should be under construction. Looks like they are. So that's the thing. Until some gravel arrives at a construction site, I don't think either of these vehicles are going to even bother to try and get out there. But, you know, so what we might do, I might just speed up time. The faster speed is not that much faster. And when I feel in control, when I feel I know what I'm doing, I tend to just always play leaving the faster speed on. And I just center and rename as I want to do. This Luhashik, unless it's some different spelling, doesn't seem to exist. I was looking it up. Okay. And I don't know what I'm going to call this neighborhood, because this is... I don't know. It's going to be a messy area. So, we've got some roads slowly under construction. We've got some agriculture starting to happen here. I think the first fields are fully sowed, and if we're lucky, we might have some vehicles going out to start sowing the rest of these fields. How many do I have? 15? I've got, what, 8? Yeah, so there's enough fields for them all to do 2 if I just add 1 more. So maybe I'll just do another little dirt road along these dots. Is that even correct? It's not even correct, but close enough. And we'll put a couple more big fields just to make sure that the time of our sowing vehicles is respected. Oh, and I gotta leave a big buffer because we might move that road. Yes, indeed we might. Okay, here we go. And once again, I'm just going to ensure that no workers ever try to come here. These further fields probably don't need me to do it, but you never know. In the far future, there might be something around here that needs a worker. There might be a bus stop or something. You never know. And the farm found all these fields, so yeah, so we should have more than enough for each of our sowers to get to a second field, but we're already entering into April here, so I'm seriously doubting that our sowers are really going to be able to do 3 each, but we'll see. We will keep watching. You know, as you can see, we're really only getting 5 at a time here sometimes, because there is that transit time to and from the fields that is eating into that productivity. So it's not a simple equation of, oh, I have this many sowers, ergo I can do this many fields. It's just not that simple. We might know that with time, with experience, but every farm, every setup, it's going to be different. So we might also want to do some more long-term planning of our downtown here. In particular, there's some critical infrastructure, absolutely critical infrastructure that we're totally missing. We're going to need water. We're going to need power. And I don't even know if I planned a heating plant yet, but seeing as we're going to be welcoming workers probably in autumn, that's something I would like to have, is a heating plant of some kind. Just checking on our progress. Yeah, and here we have, and this is the one issue that you get with too many construction sites at the same time, which is just that you do occasionally catch up. And now this guy has nothing to do because my vehicles are out at other construction sites. But what we can do, we can kind of track them. Right, see, this one got all of its gravel even though there's nothing there. So maybe this calls for moving over another vehicle I don't think we have any other vehicles. Buying another vehicle or just suspending. Oh, we did have some here. But I don't think there's a clear path. Interesting. Okay. You know, what I might do... Yeah, that's a good idea. Auto search... and just give me roads and footpaths. I don't think it's going to be able to reach anything right now. Only this one that already has a worker assigned to it. Already has a vehicle assigned to it, rather. But once these couple roads are complete, right, like it will reach this, actually. As soon as this has gravel, it should go get some. So, I built a sewage outlet. I want to plan some water and some sewage, just because these are things that are very, very important to get right. And the main thing is, I don't want to outlet my sewage here, right? The cheapest option for a sewer is a straight line. We got our town, most of the sewage is going to be produced here. We build a sewer in a straight line out to the sea. We dump our waste. But I don't want this area that's closest to the town to be any more polluted than it has to be. So what I'm going to put around here somewhere is going to be some kind of switching device to take in sewage from this direction, from Lviv, and send it over to Pezerica. I don't know what we're going to call that, but send it over to our waste area. So we're going to build 2 long sewers. It's going to be outrageously expensive. I can hardly wait. Alrighty, so I was just cleaning up the roads a bit there. I'm making a bit more space because I am considering putting that fabric factory in next to this liquor distillery, but we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So I might move that where that horizontal road was inland a bit to create a bit more space. So what I'm really interested in is sewage at this point in time. There's 2 things we're going to need. We're going to need a switch, and we're going to need a pump. And for now, I'm going to put these down. I'm going to make sure it's pointing towards its eventual destination. And I'm just going to put it down. I'm not going to hook it up with a footpath yet. Put it down around there somewhere. And our pump, I'm going to take the deepest one we have. So most of the functioning of our sewage network is by gravity. But when we have a really long distance, like what we're going to have, we require these pumps. And you can kind of see what it does. It brings from a lower level to a higher level. So what that does for you is it puts an input way, way underground, and thereby allows you to have the grade, to have the steep grade you need for stuff to flow through the pipe. And in fact, we're going to need, so they have these little, I call them sewage tanks, but these are what actually collects sewage from a specific area. So I might want to get one of these happening first, because eventually we will be producing sewage even in this area. And we're going to want to have somewhere for it to go. And I have not the faintest idea where to put this yet. But actually that might not be too bad. We'll get a big pipe. I potentially overuse and abuse the big pipes. But I've been burned before, where I thought I had all my sewer system hooked up correctly, and in fact, I didn't have the capacity. So let's just go over. I don't believe I put a switch. Oh, I put a switch, I didn't put a pump. I see, I see. So let's put a big pump over here near our switch. And I won't even hook up a footpath yet. We're just concerned about the sewer itself. And we'll see if that's big enough. It might not be, because this is a really long sewer here, but look at that. I could do that all in one piece. I'm tempted not to, though, because eventually we will have some development around here. And we might need another input. But if I don't do it in one piece, I'll need electricity for a switch. Okay. We're doing it in one piece, it's just not going to be a straight piece. I will snap to grid along here to follow alongside the road. But then we're going to curve a little. We'll just see what that looks like. Does it follow? Does it stay inland? Does it not go in the sea? I think we're good. I think we are good. Requires proper slope. Oh no! Okay, let's take this from the top. Okay, there it seems to have the proper slope. I'm cheating a little tiny bit here. But I think it's okay. I think I'm gonna risk it. But look at that. Look at that stunning bill. Just for half. Just for half of what we're gonna need. It's unbelievably expensive, these sewers. I've half a mind to just build it directly from here to the town, underneath all the fields, diagonally. We'd save some money. But the fact is, this whole corridor is going to become pretty densely populated, at least by buildings, if not in actual population, at least in workplaces and other buildings, amenities that will produce sewage. So we're going to have a lot of switches and pumps all along here, and it really is best to keep it simple. And I think I'm going to bite the bullet on this. I don't know. I'm not liking how close it goes to the shoreline. And I'm not liking the absence of a switch in between. Gonna have to give this a think. We're going to take a pause for now. And when I say take a pause, let's actually pause the game. Check our messages. Got some new vehicles coming out. There's no longer any kind of line up here for gravel. Is stuff getting built? Look at all these gravel roads! Oh my gosh, stuff is getting built, and these other vehicles, they're out doing their fair share as well, because they're now connected. Great! Okay. And what about agriculture? Geez, we might need some more fields after all. This one's got... these are all sowed. These fields are all sowed. This field's all sowed. Geez, my sowers were not as slow as I thought. Let's, you know, it's still early May. I'm gonna throw down a few more fields, see if we can't maximize our crop output in this first year. Building a road along the same line that's not straight, but we may fix this. We may fix this someday. Okay, so it's not too late. Our sowers are gonna go and do a few more fields. That's great. We're gonna have lots of crops in this first year. So let's go back to thinking about water and sewage. We will need a sewage tank, probably multiple. And the game is already showing us which buildings they're going to be able to service. Now, it's not just a question of efficiency in the sense of putting the minimum number of these you can, right? This is a rookie mistake I used to make early on, was design the sewer system last. Build all the buildings I want, and then just build the minimum number of sewage tanks that would just reach every building. That's a big mistake because the reaching is not really the issue. The issue is capacity. It's got a limited amount that it can handle. And so in reality, we're going to want more of these than we would need just to get in range. And we always want to err on the side of a little extra. And it's just because you've seen, I haven't even paid for it yet. I still might modify the route to make sure I'm happy with it. But we're gonna spend a lot of money on our sewers, and really, it sounds counterintuitive, but the more we spend building a robust network with lots of switches and lots of tanks at the beginning, the more money we'll save down the line. Because what's more expensive than building a sewer system once? Building a sewer system twice, and ripping it out, and building an auxiliary, and dealing with the interruption, and all that stuff. It's not fun. It's not fun at all. So, I am gonna try to design a bit of a corridor here, maybe when I've got some more cross streets down. But we're gonna need a whole bunch of switches, mainly. And we'll put some tanks. And I'm thinking roughly every second block or so, we'll put a switch. Yeah, the one thing that's very tricky about placing these sewers is they do need a little tiny manhole cover on the surface. The pipes themselves can go under roads, under buildings, as long as they're deep enough. But the switches, the pumps, they need a surface access that can't be on the road. So it does cause a little bit of difficulty just in knowing, oh, am I placing it somewhere that I'm gonna need to put a driveway or a building or something like that. And so I am always trying to be conscious of that. But at the beginning, I think we're keeping them close to the roads if we can. Okay, so I've arguably not put enough switches. I should probably put one more around here. But these are like branching trees. We are going to be able to put another switch and plug it into one of these two switches and so on and so forth. And I think we've just got, we've got the basic ones we need to get started, sort of at a minimum. So I'm still not going to build it. The very expensive things, I don't want to build until we need them, right? So these sewers, I think it's going to happen when we've got some kind of a population. And our fields are already starting to turn a merry yellow as we head into June. But see, I think we got lucky. They just started this last field, this furthest one. But I think we're already too late here in June. I might be mistaken. We'll see next year or later on when we've got even more fields. But I think here in June we are starting to get too late. Because if we look at this, oh, it is already half finished. But there you go. This one that was planted in March, it's already got 2 months, maybe 3 of growing time, and that's only 54%. So the growing season is almost 5 months, 4 months at a minimum. The other thing I would love to do is correct these roads, and this one in particular, which is the main road, the most direct link between our gravel source and our town. And so that's a high priority. That's one that upgrading it to gravel will really improve the efficiency of our operation. But I can't close that road for construction until there is a bypass, which is why I went ahead and started building the bypass first. And I might buy a vehicle or two. And this one, even though it's far away, it's still not a bad idea. It's far from the gravel source, but it's actually kind of close to a lot of the roads that are going to get built with the gravel. So, yes, there's a bit of an inefficiency in sending them out to that gravel source, but for now, where we have no proper paved, beautiful construction office yet, I'm just taking advantage of every patch of dirt we have available. So the next thing I want to think about, having looked at sewage, is water. It works exactly the same way. We've got a substation, and that'll show us how many buildings it'll reach, but really it has a maximum amount that it can supply. And in reality, the amount that it can supply is going to depend on the pressure in the pipes, which depends on how long they are and how far they are from pumps that require electricity. And where does water ultimately come from? Wells. I think I do have a mod, or oh, there is one that says water inflow. But I think we are imagining that this is seawater. Well, let's see what it says. 77% quality. Okay. To me, that's surprisingly high for seawater. But if we do a water well, right, 95% is much easier. And this is going to affect the water treatment and what that requires. So I might put this right in the town, since I don't expect this to be a hugely polluted area. But again, normally this is something I'd rather have in the middle of nowhere if we could. But at the beginning, probably, will we just need electricity or will we need workers? See, I think the people want it to be 99%. 92 or 95, it's not going to be enough. And there you go, you can see already where you've got buildings. It's not going to like it very much. It's going to consider even the presence of a building as some kind of pollutant to the groundwater. So maybe I'll take advantage of one of these roads and put it along one of these roads out in the middle of nowhere. And I won't hook it up to the road yet. I'll just put it down. And the very first thing I want to do is put a water tower and a pump, so that even if for some reason we are not able to treat the water right away, at least we will be able to have some storage, right? We have to imagine that our treatment capacity, this is something I didn't really explain, but we're going to have to treat this water. 95 is not enough, and even the smallest, easiest treatment plant requires some workers. I think even all the mods I have, even the tiniest one I can find, is still going to expect 3 workers before it will do anything. So therefore our water treatment capacity is always going to be bobbing up and down. It's always going to be changing in relation to what the workers are doing. So, oh, and I love that. If I put the road, I either have to stick the road in the corner, or I have to stick my output pipes in the corner. Maybe I'd do it like this. Yeah, I think that's the move right there. And we'll need some output storage. Maybe I'll do a... Ugh, I wonder what that's going to cost. And it doesn't even save that much room. It takes up a lot of space. Okay, we're doing it. This corner, it's a water storage corner. Okay, so we're going to have a network of pipes that brings water all the way to a storage tower there. But we are still going to need to set up a network that distributes the water to all the buildings coming from this storage tank. And unfortunately, I do think we're going to have to, just like the sewers, eventually extend it down here. Because look at this, even the workstation requires water. And that's a mistake. That's a mistake. What I really want is a switch somewhere. Okay, and you may have noticed that this one substation, it's got a pretty long reach, but it's probably not going to be enough. I'm probably going to put one around here somewhere. Okay, so we've got the beginnings of our water and sewage system. As you can see, shockingly expensive. If I go back over, is it the same? Yeah. So the game at least has given us the convenience of merging all of our water and sewage plans into one set of plans here, so we do know what it'll cost, but it's shocking. 230,000 rubles at least. And we're not even done. We've got to extend the water system down to the port. And we'll see. We'll see what else. Okay. So, let's take a pause. See what's been built here. This one's getting close. This one just needs one little load of gravel. This one's halfway. This is not started because I told them not to. Okay. So we might be ready to do a few more roads in gravel. And I have to be careful here because I believe... Yeah, I cannot, for example, upgrade this section yet. Why? Because trucks are still trying to go from our gravel source around here to get to this construction site. And if I were to do this, upgrade this road will close and the vehicles will no longer be able to reach there. They will when this opens, but even though we're super close, it's not certain yet that they'll be able to. So let's take a look. Oh, now it knows I have multiple. Okay. So what I might do, I might click here, start construction of plant infrastructure. I think it has started my... Yeah. It started all the sewers and pipes we planned, and that's okay. It'll be a little annoying to go through and click the button on each one of them to start building them, but I think it's a good exercise to make sure that we are building what we need to build. And to give a sober second thought before we spend our precious little bit of cash, right? We're going to spend that 230 estimate for the sewers and water systems that doesn't include all the buildings. We're going to spend over 300,000 just doing water and sewage. We're going to spend another, what is this here, 16, 40-ish. You know, we're going to spend another, I don't know, 100, 150 buildings at our port. We're going to spend maybe $500,000 to $1 million on a naval vessel. We're going to spend even more, maybe another 200,000 just to get an electrical power station built. And to have all these coal buildings, what are they going to cost, right? So we're gonna be running on our last few cents by the time all this stuff is built. But that's okay. We're nearing the point now where we would have enough built to be a little bit self-sufficient. What's going to depend is whether we have enough money to build all of the things the community needs. But most of these buildings tend to be a bit on the cheaper side. This is only going to be 100,000 to 200,000 to build everything we need at first. Maybe a heating plant will spike that up to 250, but we will cross that bridge when we come to it. Okay, so in the end I did decide to plop down a little fabric factory, which, as you may have noticed, has its own inputs for water and outputs for sewage. Hint, hint, it uses a lot of water. So we're not going to escape connecting it up to our water and sewage network. So, you know, no surprise that we're always going to need this port area to be part of the water and sewage hub. Now, I do want to just take a quick minute and compare costs. So, consumption at maximum production. So if we've got 100 workers in our distillery, it's going to consume 30 tons of crops per day. And per work day, that's depending how many workers are there, it's going to produce 6 tons of alcohol. So what is that? That's 600 tons? That's one thing I'm not quite understanding, even after years playing this game, is some of the conversions are a little tricky, because when it says maximum production per work day, do they mean per worker per day? Anyway, it looks like you put in 30 tons of crops and you get 6 tons of booze out the other end. That's what it looks like. Let's compare a vanilla food factory. Okay, so alcohol, it's about 5 to 1. Every 5 tons of crops becomes 1 ton of alcohol. Food, it's a bit better. It looks like it's 2 to 1. So that goes some way to mitigating that difference I was talking about between the cost of the food and the cost of the alcohol, for how dense they are for shipping. You do get more food for the amount of crops that you get, but the crops are so very cheap by comparison. The crops are not what we're focused on, but it's still good to keep in mind that you are going to get 2.5 times as much food from crops than you are with alcohol. And dare I look, now that I've already placed the building, at what fabric is going to be? Fabric is not bad. Fabric looks like 4-to-1. So slightly less crop intensive than alcohol, and producing slightly more money. But there's the rub. I didn't even notice. It's going to take a lot of water, that I knew, but I didn't even notice that 0.5 ton of chemicals. That 0.5 ton of chemicals, it sounds like it's nothing. Oh, 0.5 tons, but look at that. Very, very expensive chemicals per ton. But in the grand scheme of things, I think it's still going to be a nice output product, and it is very dense on a ship. It's dense value as an export. So I think we're going to do it. I think for sure we're going to do alcohol first, and if we have enough grains, if we have enough workers, we might just build the fabric factory as well. And those of you watching closely, you might have seen me check off notify me when finished, because I am going to need somewhere to store some of this grain, and I'm not sure, even if I build this silo, it might not be enough. The farm has room for 144 tons. We should get that from a single field, easily, if not more. So, but we'll see. So I'm going to need somewhere to store my grains, and I'm running out of time. And so, unfortunately, as usual, the best laid plans weren't laid well enough, because my roads are nowhere near completion, and in theory, I should be activating some of these buildings soon, building some of this stuff really soon, and getting some workers into this town. Well, we'll see. We'll see what we'll do about that. Yeah, I'm gonna want to put a road to this warehouse, build this warehouse, and if we're lucky in the winter, we will get some housing and get some of these community buildings built. And that's interesting. The source of gravel is empty. Why is the source of gravel empty? Ah, ha 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 ha! A big part of the game that I've completely forgotten. Waste management. I was banging on about it in the first episode, but it's very important. This gravel-producing building, it produces mixed waste, and it has this internal container. But once that internal container is full, it needs something basically in walking distance. Somewhere to store the garbage, basically. And this is something that our technical services buildings will do. I'm gonna have to do it right away. It's just $1,000. Not very much, but there we go. Right away it comes on. Because in fact what's gonna happen is this waste may stay here, but all future waste will go straight into a container here. Eventually we'll be able to do sorting. That is something we are theoretically supposed to research. That hasn't happened yet because I think research is still off. So we still have everything available to us now. But at the beginning, I'm not even going to bother anyway. I won't have the facilities to handle separated waste. All I have down over there in that Pezerica area is a dump. So, but eventually we will have facilities for sorting and recycling and all that fun stuff. But at the beginning, we're going to have to wait. So, unfortunately, I'm so sorry. I'm stopping the clock here on August 1st, because I'm going to have to take a serious look and a serious think about what to do about my non-existent town and my non-existent population. I know this is exactly what I asked for, but I sort of suspected that some of my roads would get finished a bit sooner. Oh, this big long one finally did. So, we're gonna see. We're gonna see what's gonna happen in the next episode. But for now, I might have to sign off. Again, another broken promise. I know. But don't worry, friends, don't worry. A town is coming. The people are coming. We're gonna build it, and the people will come. Just you wait. Stick around. Come back for the next episode. I'm Mr. Squiggs. Have a good one.